Hello everyone, in this video I'll be ranking all of the medium armors in Baldur's Gate 3 on a tier list. So there's a whole lot of different ones here. I'll be showing off some of them in the drip that they got. So some of these medium armors look incredibly nice. So this is the Armor of Agility, one of my favorite sets in the game. But I'll be going over 35 different pieces of armor, ranking them on a tier list from best to worst. And the first one we got is just a regular old breastplate, which is not that great, I'll be honest. This is one that you can get really early, and it has 14 armor class, no extra benefits. I'm going to put it in the roleplay tier just because it's not that great, but we get into a much better one here with the Luminous Armor. Now, this is actually one of the best armors in Act 1, because what this does, it gives you 15 armor class, which is not incredible, but it also gives you a plus 2 from your dexterity modifier. But what it gives is the Radiant Shockwave, so whenever you deal radiant damage, it applies radiating orbs in a 3-meter radius. Now, radiating orbs give -1 to attack rolls, so if you apply this to a target multiple times, you basically make it so they can't hit you. This is definitely an S tier option. The Luminous Armor is incredible. If you're a Paladin, your Divine Smite is going to apply that huge radiant orb explosion. If you're a Cleric, your Spirit Guardians will apply it, your cantrips will apply it, your Guiding Bolt. This is an incredible item, and you can stack this with a few different pieces of gear to apply 6 stacks of Radiating Orb per attack. A Paladin Cleric multi-class actually works really well with this, but this is one of the best early game options that can actually last you the entire game. The Luminous Armor is just incredibly useful, so definitely grab that in Act 1. But next we got the Hide. This is actually the hide. I'm going with the very rare ones here first. So this is actually the Snare Curious Armor. So Sharpened Snare Curious. So this gives your full dexterity modifier to the armor class. It has a 14 armor class, so it's not very high, but it'll add +5, so it can give you a 19 armor class with 20 dexterity. It does not impose disadvantage to stealth checks, so that's really good, because a lot of these actually do give you disadvantage on stealth checks, so this one does not. And it also gives creatures have disadvantage on saving throws when resisting your attacks and spells that will restrain them. So this can go very well on like a ranger, even different types of barbarians can get benefits from this to restrain the target. So I would say it's an A tier one. This is a very rare armor and not one that you get early on in the game, but still a very powerful one nonetheless. So got to put it up where it belongs. But next we got the Flame Enameled Armor. So this is another late game one. This has a 16 armor class. It gives you a +2 to your it gives +2 to your initiative, gives resistance to fire damage, and a +2 benefit to saving throws. It also has some pretty cool, it looks okay. I don't know if I actually have it in this, I might have put it in a chest, because I don't love the appearance of it compared to some of the other armors. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so this is what it looks like if you're wearing it. It's got that flaming fist there. It's an alright piece of armor, just not one that I really like a whole lot, so that's what it looks like all the way around. This is an okay piece of armor, not one that we're going to be using very often, but it can be a decent looking set if you're looking for something a little bit different than what you're usually wearing. Or if you want to roleplay, that can be another use for this one, but I do think that this is a piece of armor that's not as beneficial as some of the other medium armors on here, but it also gives you the Flame Shield, which is, I guess I'll show you that there. So this gives us the ability to give ourselves that fire shield and 2d8 of fire damage to anyone that attacks us. So that's pretty good. 10 turns, wisdom save. It's pretty decent. Like, you get that extra ability just for wearing the armor, and it looks kind of cool when you cast it. So that is one benefit of it, I guess, is if you're role-playing as like a fire-based soldier, that can work very well. So yeah, I would still say it's probably an A tier. 16 armor class is really nice, so you can get a decent bit of your armor class, then a +2 of your dexterity modifier, giving us a +8 or 18 total armor class from this. But the initiative rolls are huge. It actually could be like an S tier option, but there are some better ones that we have on this list, so I'll save it for that. Next, we got the Dark Justiciar half plate. So you can actually get this if you only if you play as an evil playthrough with Shadowheart. So this has 17 armor class. It comes with Shar's Aegis as well. I actually also have this armor set on this playthrough, so I can show you what this looks like. So the Dark Justiciar armor plate there. I'll pop it on. When obscured, the wearer has advantage on stealth checks. When the wearer has Shield of Faith active, reduce all incoming damage by 2, and reflect damage received back at the attacker, who takes 1 to 4 necrotic damage. And it also comes with a Shar's Aegis. It also looks pretty cool with a number of dyes, so I'll even just throw a blue and gold dye on there, which is not super thematic, but you get the idea. It looks really nice too, but it also gives us the Shard's Aegis, which will increase our armor class by 2, and then also that will reflect damage. So not a bad armor class overall. Not the best, but it's better than some out there, and this is only available if you do an evil playthrough, so that is one thing to consider. But I do think the Dark Justiciar Sharp Plate, or Half Plate, is an S tier option. Especially if you're going with like a Dark Justiciar Shadowheart. I just think it makes the most sense for her to wear this. And the Shield of Faith that you get for free is quite nice, giving you +2 armor class, and then reducing all incoming damage by 2 and reflecting necrotic damage. So honestly, quite a good set of armor there. Next, we got the Adamantine Scale Mail. So this isn't as good as the heavy armor variety of it, but this will reduce all incoming damage by 1. I'll also show you what it looks like, because I do have this one on this playthrough as well. So the Adamantine Scale Mail, 16 armor class, sends the target reeling for 2 turns, disadvantage on stealth checks, but it also, Destroyer Concentration, cannot be critical hit while you're wearing it. So that is the big benefit early on, is being able to resist those critical hits that can really just take you out. The set of armor looks pretty decent too. Like, I like the appearance of it myself. It works decently well with dyes as well. Like, I'll even show you like a lavender dye on it. Like, the armor is pretty flashy overall. I think the Adamantine Scale Mail is another really good one, especially since you can get this in early Act 1. This is incredibly useful. So I have to say that the Adamantine Scale Mail is definitely S tier for all the benefits that it provides. And the fact that you can't be critical hit and reduce incoming damage while wearing it, and send the target reeling, which will apply a condition, which can actually stack with some other items. I think that that's a very good item. So overall, solid. Next, we have the Yuan-Ti Scale Mail. So this kind of looks similar to this armor set here. So that is one thing about it, but it has the exotic material, so it allows you to add your entire dexterity modifier to the armor class. So if you have that 5, or if you have a 20 dexterity, that's +5. It has 15 armor class, so that'd make it 20. It's not as good as the Armor of Agility, which has a 2 higher armor class, but that's still pretty decent. But the Yuan-Ti Scale Mail will also give you a +1 to your initiative rolls. Now, this can be purchased at the Last Light Inn in Act 2, and this is probably one of the better Act 2 armors. I would have to say it's probably high A tier. Yeah, probably somewhere around there, just because you get in Act 2. If it was in Act 3, it'd be a little bit worse because you have better options available, but in Act 2, this is a really great armor for someone that wears medium. So, yeah, I would say that this is a solid one. +1 initiative rolls being one of the biggest benefits, but also adding the full dexterity modifier. And no disadvantage on stealth checks. Actually, this could be probably S tier. We'll reevaluate these two later on. We're starting with some of the heavy hitters here. Next, we have the Unwanted Masterwork Scale Mail. So this is another one that adds our full dexterity modifier to the armor class. This has 16 versus the 15 there. I also have Minsk wearing it, so this is what it looks like here. It looks pretty cool. I think it actually looks best on Shadowheart, so that is the only downside. Is it looks, or not Shadowheart, it looks best on Karlach. But the only downside is it gives you disadvantage, or it gives your full dexterity modifier to armor class, doesn't give disadvantage on stealth checks, and it grants resistance to fire damage. So this is what it looks like on my character here. It's good on Shadowheart because it looks really cool on her, but unfortunately she already has resistance to fire damage, so it's not really that beneficial. I think this armor looks pretty cool, and I'm always a fan of unique armor sets, so this one is very solid. I actually, you know what, Yuan-Ti goes down to A tier, this goes S tier. I think this is a underrated armor for sure. It has 16 armor class plus your full dexterity modifier, giving us a good amount of damage negation there. I don't even have a very high dexterity. And we got 22 armor class there from it, so that's pretty good. And resistance to fire damage is always nice. But next we got the best. I'm starting with all the best ones, but we do have some hidden gems scattered throughout. This is the Armor of Agility. This is my favorite armor in the game, so I'll put it on here. What this does is it adds your full dexterity modifier to the armor class, but it has 17 armor class, so it's better than the others. It also gives you a +2 to your saving throws and does not impose disadvantage on stealth. This is, I would say, the best armor in the game. One of the top 3 armors in the games, because it's going to give you the highest amount of damage negation. If you have 22 dexterity, that's a +6, +17. And yeah, you get some pretty crazy armor class numbers here. So this armor looks cool too. It works well with a variety of different dyes too, like the other ones. So you can put really, I'll put this on. I think this one looks cool. It makes it straight up black, the black and white one. But this armor is really flashy. It's the highest armor class, so this is easily the highest. I put it up in the top of the S tier. Probably in the tier list of the best armors. This is easily the best one that we've gotten so far. So yeah, a high S tier. Now we're getting into some interesting ones. This is the Jolty Vest. Or I guess I should switch back to there. This is the Jolty Vest. So this one is quite a solid option, especially if you're going more of an electric build. But it does have some lackluster abilities. Like, it only has 14 armor class, so it's a little bit lower. It's closer to the light armor in terms of where its armor class is. You take 1 less slashing damage. Yippee! And when the target has lightning charges, the attacker must succeed a dexterity saving throw or become shocked. So if this works perfectly on a Jolty, if you have a lightning charge build, this is a good armor for it. The shocked condition's not great though. It just makes it so the target can't take reactions and gives disadvantage on ability checks and saving throws involving dexterity. So this sounds much better than it really is. I'm going to put it in the B tier. The Jolty Vest it's a little bit lackluster in comparison to some other options that we got here. Like next we have the Scale Mail +2. This looks like the Yon T scale, but it's not it. Gives 1 less slashing damage, and it gives a +1 to initiative rolls and 16 armor class, making it better than the Jolty Vest. I don't think it's A tier, but potentially A tier, but just it's missing some of the extra benefits that the other armor classes, or the other armors in this tier have. So I have to put it there. But next we got the Hide Armor +2. This gives us the balance, +1 to dexterity saving throws and ability checks, and a +1 to initiative rolls. This is kind of like the Berserker or Barbarian, I guess, armor, although you're better off usually using just your Constitution defense. I'm going to put it into the B tier as well. +1 saving throws and ability checks for dexterity is decent, but the +1 initiative being the big one. It actually, yeah, maybe lower in C tier. It only has a 14 armor class, so it is a little bit weaker than some other armors, but it's all right. +1 initiative is really nice. But next we got this one's interesting. This is the Psionic Ward armor. So this is like a Lae'zel wearer armor you'd want to put on her, because if the item detects if the wearer is a Gith, and they have resistance to psychic damage. So that's decent, because psychic damage is the Mind Flayer's Mind Flayer's main damage type. Psychic damage is not super common, but when you're fighting Mind Flayers, it is. Whenever the wearer succeeds a saving throw against a spell, they regain 1d4 health. This has a 15 armor class, and will give you the +2 from your dexterity modifier, so it's pretty decent. I would probably say about A tier on Lae'zel, but everyone else would be C tier, because that resistance to psychic damage is really nice. But yeah, next we got, this is the armor of the Vengeance. So we got 3 of them here. They all have 14 armor class, and they all give disadvantage on stealth. I'm going to put that, so this is the 3 of them here. I think the Vengeance one looks the best, and then the Oath of the Ancients, and then the Oath of Devotion. So they're all okay. They're only available if you start as a Paladin, so that's nice. You get cool exclusive gear for being a Paladin, but they're not very powerful, so I'd have to just put them in the C tier. 14 armor class, just not that great. +2 from your dexterity modifier, but dexterity is not something a Paladin often invests in, because they're charisma, strength, and constitution based. So that raises some problems, but I will still put them in the C tier. They're better than the role. Actually, they could just be role play tier. Yeah, we might just move them there. They look cool. That's about it. So yeah, that's a bit of a downside, but we're getting back into the bark. This is the bark skin armor. So this is kind of like a hide armor, but a little bit better. It has the forest aegis. So you're invested with the power of the meadows, woods, of the land, and have the effect of bark skin, raising your armor class to 16. So that is nice. Doesn't allow you any extra benefits from your armor class, so that's unfortunate, but it does work well in wild shape, so that's one benefit of it. It'll give you the 16 armor class in wild shape form, which is nice, and it gives you advantage in constitution saving throws. So I'd have to say that the barkskin armor is a B tier. Barkskin being able to transfer into wild shape makes it good for druids early on in the game, and you can actually get this at Last Light Inn in Act 2, so relatively easy, especially when you get Jahara, so that works well. Next we got this is the Dark Justiciar Mail. So this is the 13 armor class version of it. Its main benefit, the Night Singer's reply: when they obscured by shadow, the wearer deals 1d4 of necrotic damage to attackers that hit them with a melee attack. So the 13 armor class is his biggest weakness. I'm going to put it probably C tier. The 1d4 necrotic damage is nice, but typically the enemies that you fight when you have this armor are all resistant to necrotic damage, making that pretty much useless. Because you can get this in the Grim Forge, and then once you go to Act 2, everything in its dog has a resistance to necrotic damage, so I would have to say it's probably C tier, just not that great. But next we got another armor here, that's 13 armor class Hide Armor. This gives +1 to dexterity saving throws and ability checks. Just not as good as the other armors, so C tier. These other ones, the other Hide Armors, look better and give better benefits. This is just kind of a junker item. And then also there's the Hedge Wanderer. Same thing, dexterity +1, saving throws, but +1 nature. So it's a little bit better, just not by much. So yeah, that is a bit unfortunate. It's just not that effective compared to some of the others that we have on this list. This is the Half Plate Armor +2. So this gives us a 17 armor class and then the +2 from our dexterity modifier. It does give disadvantage on its stealth ability checks, unfortunately. And it gives 2 less piercing damage, which is a pretty common physical damage type. I'd probably say A tier, maybe, yeah, top of B tier to A tier, maybe bottom of the A tier. This armor looks pretty cool too, so that's another benefit of it, but not much benefit. 17 armor class +2 dexterity, so it's 19, and then -2 piercing damage is kind of nice just for defense purposes, but that's about it. But we have next another nice armor set. This is the, or I guess this isn't that good, my bad. This is just a plain old-fashioned Githyanki half plate. It's got 15 armor class +2 from dexterity modifier, gives disadvantage on stealth. I'd have to say probably roleplay tier. I mean, there's just way better options for your armor, so I would never really use that one. That one's just not that good, so yeah, it's a little bit weak. But next we got a bit of a better version of the Dark Justiciar plate. So this is the no, this is not this. This is the weak version. The weakest version of the Justiciar. This is actually the broken. This one's roleplay tier, 13 armor class with no benefit. This one has a little bit more benefit. We do have a better one coming up, +2 rare one, so that'll be a little bit better. But next we got the Elven Chain. This is a solid one because it gives the proficiency to wear the armor. I also have Asterion wearing it, so we'll run over here and show you what Asterion looks like rocking this nice armor. So it's a pretty decent armor set because it looks so nice, but it also gives the proficiency. So if you got a class that won't be able to wear that armor, you can just give it to them because it looks pretty good, and also gives the free proficiency with the armor. So that is another nice benefit of it. So if you're looking for an armor that you want to wear, because if you got someone that can't wear that armor, this is a good one to throw it on because it gives that proficiency, and it gives a +2 to initiative rolls and advantage on dexterity saving throws. This is probably another underrated S tier. It's not as good because it only has a 14 armor class and a +2 from the dexterity modifier, so it's not going to be very high, but anyone can wear it. So it's like the Helldusk armor. Free proficiency, always a nice thing. So yeah, I would say it's S tier for that reason there. But next we got ourselves, this is another funky one. This is the Chain Shirt +2. So this has 15 armor class, +2 from dexterity modifier, no disadvantage to stealth, take 1 less slashing damage, and +1 to dexterity saving throws and ability checks. I'd probably say it's about B tier. It's just not as defensive as some of the other options. So yeah, +2, it's okay. It's a decent rare one. Next we got one of the ugliest pieces of armor, the leather armor that you just get base in the game. It's not that good, so I'm going to put it in the roleplay tier. Yeah, just not good at all. So yeah, can't say much good about that. It sucks. Same thing with this next piece here. This is another weak option. This is just a Chain Shirt. 13 armor class, probably the worst one in the game. It's tied with the Dark Justiciar. 13 armor class, but it doesn't give stealth disadvantage like the... I guess this one doesn't either, but they just suck. And then same thing. This is just the regular old breastplate. It kind of sucks too. This just doesn't have any benefit to it, so... Yeah, or I guess this is half plate armor +1, 16 armor class plus -1 piercing damage. So I'll probably put in C tier. It's a little bit better. My bad. 16 armor class is not bad. And then +2 from dexterity modifier. Next we got another funky one. This is called the Slippery Chain Shirt. So whenever the wearer heals a creature, it disengages and won't trigger opportunity attacks. This could have some benefit. I just don't see it being very useful often because it's only a 13 armor class, but not being able to disengage after healing is kind of cool. But again, Radiant Armor is just way better for most clerics, so I'd probably put that into the C tier. Not as effective as some of the other ones, but we got the Dark Justiciar half plate. So this is another one similar to the I guess it's the lesser version of it. I might have actually put it into my storage, so we don't have that here. But yeah, this one is actually a little bit better because it gives a 16 armor class plus 2 from dexterity modifier. It doesn't give disadvantage on stealth checks, and that's a big benefit from it. It also gives advantage on constitution saving throws, and it gives Char's Aegis, so it gives you that free Shield of Faith, and that's a pretty nice one. No disadvantage on stealth checks is huge, so I actually might put the Flame Enamored. These two could be S tier. I'm going to put this in here. Yeah, it's pretty solid. We got ourselves another interesting one with the, I keep saying interesting, but this one is just the chain shirt. It's 14 armor class plus 2 dexterity modifier, -1 slashing damage. Not that great, but now we're getting into some other more powerful ones. This is the what armor is this one? This is a half plate armor plus 2. Oh, breastplate plus 2. There it is. Breastplate plus 2. This one has 16 armor class plus 2 from the plus 2 from the dexterity modifier, +1 to dexterity saving throws and ability checks, and -1 piercing damage. Probably a B tier option. It's just not as good as some of the other rare options that we have. So yeah, that's that. And then we got ourselves another armor. This looks like the Luminous Armor, but it's just the breastplate +1, which gives -1 piercing damage and 15 armor class, C tier. And then finally, this looks like the, I think I accidentally saved the Armor of Agility twice. There's a few sets that look like the Armor of Agility. Yeah, I accidentally saved the Armor of Agility twice. So this one, yeah, I already did these. This is Scale Mail +2. So +1 to initiative rolls, 16 armor class +2. I'll probably put it roughly around there. And yeah, finally, I guess I put the Armor of Agility. I like the Armor of Agility so much I put it there twice. So I'll even just show a few different colors of dye because this armor is really nice looking. It is one of my favorite armor sets. It works well with a number of different dyes too. Like there's it in the pink dye. This looks really nice. So if you wanted to go with like even dyes that Greaves pink, it goes really well with any color armor. I honestly think that this is one of the better. Like some of them, this is the green armor. It just gives a slight green tint to it. Nothing really crazy, but overall, this armor, I think, has one of the best appearances in the game. So here's the Boreal Blue. It gives us the blue sleeves there. It's because it has metal and cloth. I think that's what makes it look so nice. But it responds well to pretty much any dye that you throw at it. So this, I'll throw the Drake General on because the Drake General looks really nice too. The strong gold. But that is the Armor of Agility. One of the best looking armors in the game. And I'd have to say, this is I already have it in the S tier, but it is S tier. So there it is. Those are the best armors in medium armors in Baldur's Gate 3 ranked on a tier list. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. If you got any ideas for future tier lists you would like to see, also leave that in the comments. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button below. I appreciate any and all support. And I hope you all have an awesome day, and I'll see you in the next video.